Three, two, one. Hello, everybody, and welcome along to another Mindful Leadership podcast. Today we have my co-host Natasha Rocha. Hello, Natasha,
Hello.
and our special guest Aura, who's joined us this week, and we're really excited to learn all about Aura's journey. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. And hello to both of you. Thank you. Thank
Hello.
you.
Oh, I'm so excited to for you to share your knowledge and wisdom, but I'm quickly going to read your bio and then I'll let you elaborate and tell us a little bit more about your journey. So you're all about helping people around the world to reclaim their sovereignty, and that is your biggest joy. And you were born with active sensory perception, and since childhood, you've been aware of a multidimensional aspect and practiced energy work in various ways throughout your life. And your NDE from March 2008 provided you with an even deeper understanding of our essence and life itself. It amplified your passion for psychology, philosophy, Buddhism, hypnotherapy, Dolores Cannon's work, and it drove you to practice quantum healing and energy alchemy. And that sounds like what an incredible journey you've been on as well. And I love that you've had it ever since you were little and you embraced it and you didn't shut it down like most of us do. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about that journey.
Well, yeah, I also have this fear of calling myself a psychic medium because it's so loaded. Like there's so much mistrust around that word and so much skepticism. And so I find it easier to just say having an active extrasensory perception, which again, we all do if we allow ourselves to tap into it, get out of the mind and into the body and into the heart. And since I was little, I could see what people call ghosts, but I could see them in a way that I didn't see through them. I saw them exactly as I see you, normal people. So sometimes the way to distinguish was either they would just disappear from in front of my eyes, or they would appear in front of my eyes, or they wouldn't say anything. They would just stare. And then I know, okay, that's not a person. That's a different type of being, a different kind of essence, not a living, well, incarnated essence person. And I would see shadows. I would see what people probably would call demons, but I was never scared of them as a child until I started seeing horror movies. And that's when the fear kicked in and all of this and the programming and everything. So I started getting really scared. I was hearing voices. And when I was 16, I remember I was having conversations with people that were in their 40s about opening portals and like this type of stuff, which I never read anywhere. I was not allowed around the computer. I grew up in the Eastern Bloc in Romania. The first year of my life, communism was still around. My dad was, in the military, fighting the Russians and through the revolution and all that. And so I grew up I had a very strict upbringing, and my parents didn't know any better. There was a lot of, physical abuse because they grew up the same way. So they didn't know how else to discipline the child. And there was even pride around it. Like, look at me, I'm beating my kids. I'm a good parent. It was this type of discipline and upbringing. And that put a lot of fear into me. So that's how I started shut down. And that's how I started like, okay, I'm not a good daughter. I'm destroying my parents. I'm destroying everybody that I love is suffering because of me. So when I was 7 years old, I have a very vivid memory of, getting disciplined. And I was feeling sorry for my mom. The only thought that went through my head was, poor mom, look what I'm doing to her. And that was just, the simple things, like simple stuff. I would come home with a present that someone gave me, like a hair clamp or something like that. And that would get me into trouble. Or because it's not mine, I have to give it back. Why do I have it? All this type of things. So I grew up with a very limited mentality, and a mentality of coming from communism, and my grandparents, so my mom's parents, were working for the politics, the political people, and they were questioned all the time. They had to take lying detector, like tests with a lying detector, and they could not trust their neighbors. They could not trust family members. Some of my family members did jail just because they were associated to some politicians, or they knew a politician. Like, it was insane. It was absolutely insane. So that I grew up with a lack of trust in humanity. I was always told people are out to get you. You cannot trust anybody outside of your family. Everybody is evil. And so I learned that I'm not safe in my family because that's where I get abused and beaten. And outside of my family, everybody wants to kill me. So it was this mentality that I grew up with, and a total fear for humans, humanity, uh, what people are and do. And at the same time, viewing myself as a human being. And just because I had those characteristics as well and was in the same body, I wanted to die. And also because I was a burden to my family. So since the age of 13, that was my first suicide attempt. And since then, I don't have enough fingers to count them. It was just, I went down a hole, I guess. And I ended up in psychiatry. And of course, when I tell people then that I see spirits and hear voices, and that made it even worse. And so by the age of 25, anyway, it was November 2011. I woke up one day and I said, I'm done. I'm done with this. I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to be suicidal. I don't want to be an alcoholic anymore, because I ended up on that path as well. I don't want to destroy myself anymore. And I said, I need to learn to love myself. I need to get my stuff together, because the one dream that I've had my entire life since childhood is that I wanted humanity to know how amazing they are, and that they're limitless, and that they are the mind, if you use it in the right way, is such a creative source of such an insane catalyst, powerful of creation. And it's something that I've known my entire life, but having been indoctrinated with all of this fear, it just got pushed down. So yeah, around November 2011, I started letting that sprout up again, and my entire life changed. It was insane how from one day, my entire perception, the people around me, everything changed. Everything changed just with that switch of perception. So yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing such a deeply powerful journey. It's it's a lot to hear, and I can only imagine it was a huge amount to experience. And thank you for being so transparent in your journey. Like, it's so important, right? Like, whenever we hide these parts of our past, it never empowers anyone, or in fact, if anything, it encourages others to hide theirs. And yeah, just holding space for, what's been a really tough journey, where you've come into this life and you're thinking, this isn't for me, and that it's been multiple times you've been thinking, how can I make this work? And so through all this trauma, and perhaps despite what you were saying to others, were you still experiencing your psychic abilities, your extra sensory abilities all the way through?
Yes, they were always there. And it was kind of cool because sometimes I could talk to my mom about it. And my dad, he was writing about extraterrestrials. So since 95, he's been writing his book called The Terra Program. And it's all about different programs of humankind that existed and have been obliterated in order to create a new program. And his last book now, which he's still promoting in Romania, is all about this program that is ending right now. The problem with my dad, and this is what I talked to my mom with yesterday, is that he sees the ending of it all. He doesn't see past the old paradigm. He doesn't see the new paradigm. And I was telling my mom about the new paradigm yesterday, and which is something that I never did. And every time I try to open up to my dad about it, he tells me that he completely cancels it out. Like, you're imagining things, you're delusional, we are all dying now. So, but I grew up with this since I was 7 years old. I always knew the world is a graveyard. Humans are cattle for ETs that cannot reproduce, and we are just being used. Our DNA and our soul imprint is being used for them to be able to reproduce themselves. So this is the mentality that I grew up with, and the fear that I had we've had UFOs in my backyard. I was with my mom. We were both seeing it a few meters from our home, and yelling after my dad. I was yelling, "Dad, dad, dad," and my mom was yelling, "Get the camera, get the camera, get the camera." I've also had seen UFOs with my husband. I woke up at 3 at night, and I was just staring. It was right there in front of my window, 3 of them. And I wake him up. I'm like, "Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see?" And he's looking, he's like, "Yeah, 3 UFOs." And then he just puts the blanket over himself, covers himself, and goes back to sleep. And then I talked to them. I think I might have told you about this experience, John, but I'm not sure that I talked to them, and that I got invited on the ship, and the ship was white and with infinite edges. I think it was like what you saw in the session. It was very similar to what you have seen in the session. It was really cool. And I got to speak to them, and they were telling us, "We're watching you, and we're making sure that nothing bad is happening to you." And like, they were guardians, and they were having a meeting about planet Earth and the things that were going on. And so I've had this throughout my entire life, and I've always, seen spirits. And even when I had trouble, I tried going to shamans and to oracles and to mediums. And when I had like evil spirits, or I would feel a darker energy that I couldn't get rid of, and they would tell me to exercise and do these type of things, elimination, and I don't know what. But in the end, I was like, no, it didn't work, of course. And I said, also, it makes no sense. Like, why would I fight evil with evil, with fight war with war? It's not working. So then I said, you know what? What's up? Want to talk? I'm here. Let me listen to you. Let's talk this out. I'm here to help. And I would always say that it's no use for anyone to be attached. So if you're attached to me, you're not free. And if I'm attached to you, like, none of us is free. So in order for you to achieve your freedom and your full power, you need to be in your full essence by yourself as an individual, whole and unattached by anyone. And this is how I usually help them regain their power, and thus become unconditional love, and have the light of the universe always guide them in whatever it is they need to achieve, do, and so on, as a soul, as a spirit. So yeah, I feel like I'm going in 1,000 directions. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I absolutely love it. And a lot of the work that I do is working in the Akashic records. And the beautiful thing is seeing how your purpose has been birthed, and how you had to experience that absolute despair. So again, thank you for being so honest, especially because it birthed the purpose of sovereignty, which ties in so beautifully with the times that we're going through right now, in order to help humanity really step into that. And I find that nothing is by accident. I really get excited about your purpose in the world, in order to helping those, awaken and really feel into recognizing who we are in this world. And looking at, even though you chose, I believe we choose our parents, it gave you the substance to work with these ETs, however it came in. And I absolutely believe that we are moving through this time of change, and we are completely being prepared for our next aspect. And seeing all paradigms exist. So seeing your dad's paradigm, and you're going, it's like almost like pulling those two, kind of like, no, I want to live this paradigm. And your dad's like, no, but this one is the certainty, and all the ones in between there, which is beautiful to see. And it's looking at, okay, who's joining me on this train to this paradigm, and who's joining on this train to this paradigm that's coming up. And what a beautiful journey you've been on, and it's not to dismiss any of the trauma you've been through or any of that, but it's that healing that you've gone to really move past that. Not only do we heal for ourselves, but we heal the world. So I commend you on doing that heavy lifting and pulling yourself through this in order to birth this. So it's not for the faint-hearted, absolutely. And I love that switch that you did, completely changed that paradigm. How did you find, I mean, that must have been so surprising, waking up and going, I'm living in a totally different world, totally different paradigm, which shows the power of our thought. And we can change these things. You've lived that. That is incredible. Can you tell us a little bit more about the switch, like what the process was in completely going, okay, hitting that rock bottom and going, okay, enough's enough?
I think I've hit that rock bottom many times, and through many suicide attempts. And one of the things that really helped was the NDE, which is weird to say, but I've never been scared of death in any way. I never felt that it's an end. And I think I owe this to my ancestors as well. I not only chose my family, but I chose the place where I was born in Romania, because the Dacians, the ancient Romanians, they believed that death doesn't exist. It's only a transformation. You transform.
Absolutely.
So you're coming out of the physical and you transform into the ethereal, into your essence, your true essence. And they were mourning births and they were celebrating deaths. That's how it was. And I think this helped me a lot, also having that through my DNA in my body. And when I had my NDE, it was not a suicide attempt. I was actually happy that evening. I went into a house. It was a party with my school, with my classmates. And it's funny because I just talked to a girl that was there that night recently. And as I enter into the house, I see these stairs, a spiral staircase. And the first thing that goes through my head, and I say it out loud, is, I'm going to fall down the stairs tonight. And so I avoided them the entire evening. I didn't go upstairs. I said, no matter what, I don't care who's up there, I'm not going up there. But at one moment, I really needed to go to the toilet. And it was everywhere else, like downstairs, it was occupied. I couldn't go. And I really, really, really needed to go. And I said, okay, I'm just gonna go to the toilet. And as soon as I step out of the toilet, the stairs are right before the door, in front of the door. And that's where I fall head first. And they said I was lucky that I didn't break my neck. I ended up in a coma. I went to the hospital. I was clinically dead for about 5 minutes or so. They couldn't find my veins when I got to the hospital to put whatever they needed to put into me. I had a lot of different small marks from needle sticks. Yeah. And eventually they brought me back. But what I felt then in that moment when I was gone from the physical, it was just pure bliss, pure perfection. It was a wholeness that I cannot express in words. Nothing in this life, almost nothing in this, in the everyday conscious mind can express it. But when I'm in a meditation state now, I can get back there. And during sessions, I can get back there when I am the client, when I go to one of my colleagues and I say, hey, can you do a session for me? I didn't need it right now. I get back to that state again. And that understanding, that was for me, the message, something needs you here. I'm not supposed to die. I'm needed here. And I have a lot of stuff to do in this life before I die. And that's part of it when it kicked in. But then I had to choose a university. I had to live a normal life. No, you're not allowed to do art. You have to be a doctor, all of these things. And that pushed me deeper into depression. And you cannot wear these clothes. Now you're not a child anymore. You have to get into the working life. And so everything about me was wrong. But then one day, I don't know, I just remember that morning where it was beyond suicide. It was beyond everything that was bad. And like, I think I've shed everything I could have shed, and I tried everything I could have tried to escape myself, where the only thing that was left was just complete surrender. So I wake up that morning and I say, okay, well, if I can't die and I cannot drink it away, I cannot do anything, I need to try the other thing that I haven't tried ever before, which is to take care of myself and to start being the change I wish to see in the world, because I always knew the ability that we all have. And so I started writing with a pen every single day on my arm, be the change you wish to see in the world. So that's what I was doing every morning. I was taking a shower and then writing, be the change you wish to see in the world. And that drove me. So I was thinking small thoughts, like I want people to see them smiling on the street. And I live in Sweden. Everybody's like this. Nobody smiles ever. You're a psychopath if you smile here on the street. So I was just walking on the street and smiling in my clothes. I was having big spikes around my neck. Everybody would label me satanic or I don't know what, like something like that, the way I was dressed. But I was just smiling and I was saying hello to everyone, which again is not normal here in Sweden. I decided to be the way I want the ideal person to live their life. I never bought cold turkey, never bought alcohol anymore. I stopped smoking. I changed my diet, which was just pizza and lasagna. I switched that to just super, super clean. I started studying nutrition for myself, everything that I could get on nutrition. And all of a sudden, I had 4 chronic diseases physical. So I had psoriasis, I had endometriosis, I have PCOS, I had, what was the other one? I don't even know. And then I had bipolar, borderline, the depression, suicide, all of these things, which they told me they are the cancer in the psychiatry. So they're uncurable. IS and fibromyalgia, that was the 4th one, physical. So all of these are uncurable. There's no cure for them. You're going to have them for life. And the older you get, the worse they get with age. And that's what I was always told. You're going to need more pills, bigger doses, blah, blah, blah. But what I said was like, nope, I'm just going to start tapering down the medication. So not finish cold turkey with it because I knew that would create other problems. I started reading on everything, tapering down medication while taking care of myself, while starting to exercise every day. And I love dancing, something I never did anymore. So I just started dancing at 9 p.m., 8:30 actually. At 9 I was going to sleep. So at 8:30 I would put music on in my apartment. I would dance alone. I didn't have any friends at all. Nobody. I never spoke to anyone. I was alone in a city where I didn't know anyone, and I was doing my thesis to finish my first university. So I was, and I did all of this for myself. And all of a sudden, people on the street started smiling. All of a sudden, I was getting internships. All of a sudden, my entire life changed. Like stuff, life, the universe was against me. And then all of a sudden, it was there open for me for the grabs. And that was a huge shock for me, something that I never thought about. I heard about the law of attraction, but I never read about it. It was just that, okay, just something I heard about, but I don't even know what it means. So it's not something that I applied or anything like that. I just decided that I was going to live and that I was going to be an example, not for others, but just show myself that I can do something that I haven't tried yet.
Wow. Oh, thank you. And I love beat you said, was it be the change you want
wish to see
you wish to see
in the world? Yeah.
I love that so much. And I want to plus one what you were saying earlier near the start. So you were saying talking about psychic abilities, and I'm psychic too. And it's really funny because it took me quite some time to come out of the psychic closet. Mm. And I first of all, I'm really in admiration of your journey where you've lived with these consciously, you've lived with these abilities, and yet you've had to experience like the whole roller coaster, to do like in and out of different dimensions and different realities, and still be able to hold it together and keep not just improving yourself but helping others. Um, for my experience, I when I started went through my awakening in age 40, so in 2017, I I'd shut myself down. When I think back, really, I'd shut myself down since about the age of 6. And I remember seeing shadows and ghosts, and they were very vivid for me, and they were scary. I didn't understand what they were, especially the dark shadows and the negative ones. And I would ask my parents, and they would laugh at me a bit. And eventually, they told me that, dark shadows that's not a ghost. Like, it's just your imagination. Like, it's not really there. And to me, it looked like as real as anything else. Um, and so I decided that was just too scary and too much. And so I stopped that part of me. And it's fascinating to reflect on it that, it took me till the age of 40 to start to redevelop or reactivate those abilities. And the time in between, it's like part of my soul was missing, because I was like a truth seeker of, ghost hunting and UFOs. And I was, it was so funny thinking back, because all that time I would invest so much energy hunting for these things outside of me. And yet all of it was just waiting. It was almost like drawing me back full circle back to a door inside of me, like inside my own heart, saying, John, if you could just open that door, like step through your fear of having these abilities, you would get all the answers and way more than you currently perceive. And Natasha and I did an event, an in-person event here near the city of Edinburgh in Scotland, and we got 12 people together, and we did now even the advert for the event I found very difficult. It's like, I've got to put the word psychic in. I remember my reflexology teacher, Lana, saying to me, but John, it's one of you, it's like your strongest gift. Why wouldn't you say that? It's like, like I have to, don't I? And I think I called it like quantum and akashic, psychic readings, healings, clearings. Like, there's loads of words, but I managed to get it in. And then when we did we spent 2 hours with 12 people, and there's just these like repeating themes from everyone. Like, some of them had, similar experiences of ghosts and shadows, some experiences in their own meditation, some either they'd had sessions or experiences of past lives and being a witch, especially where we are in the Edinburgh Lothians area. There was a lot of witch persecutions that we're healing from. And Natasha doesn't know this part yet, which is that when I was back yesterday in the wellbeing center we ran it, there was just really beautiful feedback coming through the owners saying, like, for the people that attended, they're like, just the most accurate readings they've ever experienced. Such power and such depth, and it felt so empowering. And at least 5 of them had already signed up again for to come back. And it's a very, like, your journey, Aura, is so empowering to hear, because it's so easy to shut it down, right? It's much easier. It's just go, I could just go and pay my bills and watch TV and I'll be fine, and this world will be fine. And I'm really interested in your journey with strong words, like with many meanings, like and psychic, and other related words. How is that for you now on your journey? How far do you feel you've come?
Not that far at all. I feel like I haven't taken any step further with this, because I'm really just like you. I mean, I'm scared of that word. And even as you say, right, because when we tap into this within our essence and into the knowledge that we have, there is so much truth in there. I mean, there's just absolute truth in there, but we are so deeply programmed, and that programming is so ingrained within us to not believe ourselves, to not trust ourselves, because for thousands of years, we've learned that if you want to talk to the God, you have to talk to a priest, and they will talk to God for you, because you are unworthy, you are unclean, you cannot do this. Or the witch hunts, right? The persecutions and everything, you will be hunted down if you do this. There's so much fear around this in our bodies, in ourselves. And this is also because we not only have the DNA of our parents within ourselves, but we have their entire energetic print.
Mm-hmm.
And we have that of our grandparents and grand to the first human being on this planet. So the entire trauma of humanity is within each and every one of us right now, present.
Mm-hmm.
Through our lineage. So everything that they've experienced, we are the last ones to experience it. And this is where the dismantling comes, right? We are the ones, like you said, John, in your session, the universe rewards the brave, I think you said in your session.
Yeah.
And this is something that, you know, like really stuck with me. And this is the bravery that we need to display right now. And it's very hard for me to do. I mean, just this morning, I was looking at, I try to stay away from the phone, but it's really hard. And I'm looking at other people and I'm always comparing myself to them. Like, oh my God, she's psychic. She's awesome. She has access to the entire knowledge of all that is. And I always put myself down. I'm like, I have nothing to contribute. I have nothing to give to the people. So I do this just this morning. I did this again. And then I was like, no, snap out of it. Snap out of it. It's about remembering to center back into your truth, not into what we have been taught to believe, because I was taught my entire life, I was told that I'm worthless. I'm not good enough. Why can you not be like your sister, like your colleagues, like anybody else? Just don't be you. And it's this thing that it's a work in progress. Always healing is always a work in progress, and healing always happens in the present moment. You might think that, oh, I'm done. No, you're not done. You will always find another thing will show up that you will need to begin to dismantle and to to address and to begin to release. And I think the way I'm doing my work also, because my dad, he's very okay, it's also this entire thing with the Anunnaki. And like, if you start talking about the history of humankind and everything that happened, I'm trying to do it as grounded as I can and as close to the present as I can, but bring the entire gravity of it into the present moment. And so to help people to begin to release themselves, to liberate themselves from everything. So I don't mention Anunnaki because I'm always hoping that normal people, like people that haven't awakened yet, or that are sensing something, that there is something within them that wants to awaken, that I'm hoping that these type of people are watching my content as well and looking for answers. And I'm trying to simplify it as much as possible for them. So that's why I'm not really using words like psychic and stuff like that, also because people think that but again, this is my belief, right? It's my fear that people think that it's not legit. As soon as I say therapist, hypnotherapist, it's legit, right? All of a sudden it's like, it's a science behind that. And yeah, there are just tons and tons, infinite, our entire programming, actually, our entire matrix that we need to dismantle to get out of. So yeah, I still have what's the word? Not fear, but discomfort around that word, I guess, and these type of words. Quantum healing. Oh my God, if I had to explain that so many times to so many people that are in quantum physics. And I'm like, well, if you're into quantum physics, then you should understand what this is about. Because otherwise you're not into quantum physics. Like, it's pure quantum entanglement and quantum mechanics. It's very easy to
So it's
understand.
quite interesting with the term of psychic. At the beginning, when I started with this journey and kind of like really coming out and supporting other people, I mean, even as a teenager, I was always known amongst my friends, like, you're the psychic one, you need to come and help us with this. And I'd be like, oh my goodness, what have you guys gotten yourselves into, you know? But it was my close friends. I'd never talk about it at work. I mean, John would have never known. We worked together for a long time, and I was totally into all of this. And sometimes my boss, who was a doctor at that, you know, who had studied in the medicine, he'd turn around and say, that's quite profound that you'd say that. And I was like, oh, am I dabbling too far into that psychic, era? So there was when I started that, it's quite interesting because my fear has changed. in that sense of course, that prosecution, that conditioning that we've all been brought into. And with my family, it's like, you can't talk about this outside because of what people would say. But now that I'm totally comfortable, well, almost completely comfortable in that, my fear now is stepping into somebody else's expectation of what is psychic.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, even when I was doing like Reiki and craniosacral, there's that expected almost message that at the beginning would make me really, really nervous. And then I'd just go completely medical. It's just try to avoid that. And then the other times where you almost see something completely, like, for example, one time I was working with a gentleman who was a movie producer. And he came in because his whole like spine, he had done something. And it was quite interesting. The first couple of times that I worked with him, I didn't get a lot of information. But the last time that I worked with him, and probably why he's not been back, but the last 5 minutes, I just got the full-on download that I got to see how he downloads his movies, how he downloads the concepts that need to be shown. And because he was saying, sometimes I don't have the complete concept, but it's very organic and it just moves along quite quickly. And what would take 3 months to shoot, I now shoot it in a month and a half. And I'm like, this is how it works. This is how you're downloading the blueprint. And I was so excited because I could totally see it energetically happening. And I've always made a deal, like, what I see, I say, one of those things. And then there's that, you toy with that expectation or not expectation, or how is this information going to land? Anyway, I was like, if it's for me, it's not for me, then I'm going to share it. And that's what I did as well. So, and I started to learn that sometimes just planting the seeds and, they will find that information. But the opposite side of being called psychic now for me is that, how do I step into that where I can be 100% accurate? And then once I'm doing my thing and I'm into the records, all of that goes away and become neutral. But there's that expectation that is placed within myself to be in one way or another, kind of a thing, and giving that expectation that is there. And again, it's totally constructed by my own conditioning and my own thought processes. And going, no, wait a minute, there's all these psychics that I find I love their information. And now how could we're taught to measure ourselves up against that, right?
Yes.
So it's very, very interesting in working through that aspect of that journey. And going back to what you were saying, with regards to that religious aspect, I did a course, it was a soul path course in Canada, and I could take an extra module and become a reverend. And I could marry people, and I could do in certain provinces, and I would also be able to do funerals. And there was only 2 marriages that I did. For me, it was more the curiosity of what the contract is that happens behind, on a spiritual sense, when 2 people create that, or the contract's already there, but I wanted to see what would happen. But it was quite interesting because, first of all, the emails, Reverend Natasha would give me a visceral. So I'm like, obviously there's something that needs to be cleared from the past. And the irony of it, because I was a reverend for one of the metaphysical groups. And I was like, the people that prosecuted me in my past lifetimes, or I allowed that, I'm now part of the, so I thought that is so fascinating in itself. But the one wedding that I did, because I was the reverend, they put me at a special table for the dinner. I was very honored that they invited me, but people's behavior changed because they thought I had that direct connection to God. And I was like, oh my goodness, that made me feel so uncomfortable. Yes. Because I was like, you all have a connection to God. And I'm not the purity that people are putting me on this pedestal. I've lived a life of many different things. And I was like, oh my goodness, to carry that frequency of reverend and not step into that and to be held in that way, I was like, oh my goodness, but it helped me to understand that. But it made, I'm not a reverend anymore. I haven't renewed my license. I got out of what I needed out of that experience. It's not a fear, but it now activated that aspect of like, no, you have the direct connection within you. And I completely see that sovereignty of like, you showing people that they are powerful. They don't need to connect outside of themselves. It's all within us. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. So how do you help people in kind of like going, hey, it's you that has the connection. It's you that is that direct connection to all that is.
Exactly. This is also something that I had in the back of my mind. It just didn't come out of my mouth, what you said now, because when it comes to this with psychic medium, just like you say with the reverend, right? People see you differently all of a sudden. Because this one person approached me and she said, hey, I have some problems. Do you know any mediums I could talk to? And I said, well, I'm also a medium. I just don't say that I am.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, do a reading for me. And I said, no, my job is to empower you for you to realize that you can do a reading for yourself. This is the entire foundation of my job. So that's why I don't say psychic medium, because every time I would have that in my description anywhere on social media, people would come ask me for readings. And I always say that goes completely against what my job is here on this planet and my mission right now. It's not to do readings for you. It's to help you realize that you can access the entirety of the all that is through your own heart space, through your own body, through your own cells. You have that information within you. You are made up of that and nothing else. There's and the way that I do my best to communicate this to people is, I guess, through my YouTube channel and my social media, always reminding people that they are magnificent. And I was just thinking this morning, I sound like a broken record because it's all I talk about, how awesome people are and how limitless they are and how it's so important to not put myself above others. And I think that this is also why I don't have clients, because I don't talk about how awesome I am and how, I mean, I'm just looking at so many people out there who sadly call themselves, I don't know, Arcturian goddess 444 or something like that. But they seem to be such, I mean, they present themselves as that. They present themselves as, I don't know who, from I don't know what high priestess or priest. They talk in a language that is not even of this earth. When you speak to them, I feel like I need a dictionary and I need 5 brains to understand what they're saying. But then you see that they're just charlatans cheating people, and it breaks my heart. It's very, very heartbreaking. So, or people that put themselves above others. I've also had power struggle. I don't even know how to call them. Like some people approach me just to see my power, how powerful I am, if I can, if I'm a matching opponent to them, to like to, and I'm like, dude, no, just go do something else. That's not what you need to do right now. This is not how this works. So I don't appreciate this. I don't like this. And I'm always trying to show people also when it comes to negative entities, right? Because I'm having clients who have implants or attachments or I don't know what, and then they get to see these or perceive these negative either galactics or entities. And I always tell them, I'm here with you. We're all here with you. You're with your higher self. Nothing can touch you. Nobody's more powerful than you. Because if we are all fractals of source, that means that we all contain the entirety of source within us. We are all omnipotent. We are all omniscient. We're all equal. Nobody's above you. Nobody's below you. You are not above or below anybody else. We are all the same, actually. And at the same time, we're all unique experiences of and expressions of source, but none more powerful than others. So that's why, for instance, I told someone recently that I saw Alpha Draconian in my living room, and she was like, "Oh, didn't you get scared?" No, like, okay, you're there, so what? And then he disappeared. It's like, okay, bye, have a great one. Just telling me you're here. Do whatever you do. I'm not interested. Like I'm minding my business, you mind your business, whatever you're doing. We kind of just saw each other there, and that's it. It doesn't have to be, oh my God, I'm attacked, and I think a lot of these abductions and everything that's happening, it's we that put the fear into it, because the moment I stopped fearing aliens ETs and all these entities, I all of a sudden had a completely different relationship to them. It was like, okay, they're there. Hi, thank you for being here. Have a nice one. Or again, like I mind my business, you mind your own business. And if I don't want them to be there, I say, please go away. This is a planet of free will. My will is that you do your business somewhere else. Currently, I'm here, and when I'll go away from here, you can come here, but we are not interfering with each other. Like, even though we are interconnected at all times, but my consciousness needs space right now from whatever it is that you're doing, and you're not allowed to interfere with my energy right now. So yeah.
I love that you go to such effort to empower others, because that's how we're going to change this world, right? This new world that you touched on will be a world of empowerment, of self-empowerment. And when you did it, and I forget the title, right? Was it a Beyond Quantum Healing session that you did for me? And it was about November last year. And so I was very, very secret at the time, even though everything else about me is so public. I'm posting every day on social media and songs and everything. I was like going through this transition where it's like, I need to leave my corporate job. I need to go and start the thing that I need to do. And that was a focus of the session with you. And I remember I would describe the sensation of your session was like you just held the space so beautifully. And I felt for the first time in a long time, just incredible clarity about my own abilities, my own past, present, and future. It felt very natural, like we're just chatting just now, but with an increased awareness and a really safe space around me. And I remember we visited like this future version of me, and it all seemed really smooth. It wasn't like this big kind of, although the decision I was making very big to leave my corporate job, the future version of me was saying, John, it's just another step in your journey. It's an important one for you to do, and at the right time for you. And then I saw how I was helping others and how I was doing it. And I remember we were also on a galactic federation ship, and it's like, wow, I'm teaching there. that's so cool. That's because some of the aspects of empowerment for ourselves are realizing that, I feel like we've introduced our audience to two things, psychic and aliens, right? In one episode, but even the term alien, divides us. And actually, can you imagine doing our work and only saying, but only souls from Earth? If you've ever been to another planet, or you go to another planet, no, you're not in the sessions. Like, that would be so weird. And it feels very natural now to when, whether I talk about my past lives or future lives in different planets, and the same with any other being. And I feel it's really empowering. I love how my work with you, or I just came away from the session feeling like I have a pretty clear vision now about where this is all going. And it's all about my empowerment. Like, I just need to settle into that belief and knowing. And so thank you for that. I remember saying to you recently, like, hey, everything you said came true. Like, I know I was you helped me ask myself, and I answered myself. And then I went through the actual journey, the bit in between. And I just want to both thank you for that, to acknowledge it, and also to congratulate you on your approach. Empowering others is so critical, because I think if the only work that I don't enjoy right now is when a client comes to me and says, I just have all these problems, fix them. And I'm like, I just don't feel like I'm the right person for you, because I'll teach you how to fix your own problems, but you'll have far fewer to fix if you just focus on your own empowerment. So yeah, thank you for that beautiful reflection. I don't want to talk too much, because I know that we'll have a meditation soon. But I just wanted to thank you.
What I want to say very quickly is, John, that it's all you're doing, because so many clients can have amazing sessions, but then they just walk away and don't do anything with them. So it doesn't matter how awesome or poor your session is, because I had a personal session where nothing happened. I didn't answer a single question. I just went home. Nothing happened. But 3 weeks later, my entire life changed. Or clients have amazing sessions like yours, but their life doesn't change because they don't apply anything of that knowledge within their everyday conscious living life. So it's all your credit, actually.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. And I agree with we're needing to action our way forward, right? And like you say, becoming the change that we wish to see in the world, which is so important, to live by that. And I think to drive our actions by that would be a great way to ask your question. You know, if we're a little bit kind of like confused in that sense of asking, you know, what would a person that I, want to change the world to be like, how would they respond to the situation?
Yes.
Which is beautiful. Yeah. Before we jump into meditation, would you like to please share how people can find more information? Because I could speak to you all day. I have tons of questions still to ask you. How can people get a hold of you? How can people connect to you? What's the best way to see you?
The best way to find me is either on my website, aurauniverse.com. It's Aura, my name, and then universe, YOU, because you are the universe.com. Or Aura Universe, aura.universe on Instagram. I'm not active on Facebook. Just everything I post on Facebook gets sent over to, on Instagram gets sent over to Facebook, but I don't exist on Facebook otherwise. So Instagram and YouTube, of course, Aura Universe, the same.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I encourage you all to go and connect with Aura and perhaps even look at a life-changing session if that aligns and that calls to you. Shall we jump into doing just a quick meditation? Let's see what comes up. And it shouldn't be too long. Let's connect in. Let's close our eyes. Let's take a couple of deep breaths. Breathing in through our nose and out through our mouths. Let's imagine that we're breathing in light, allows us to ignite the light that already exists within us. And when we exhale, let's release the tension, the stress, or any lower vibrational frequencies we might be holding on to. And as we continue to exhale, we allow for space for more light to shine. Allow this light to amplify. Allow it to flood your auric fields. Releasing any emotions that we've collected that are not ours. Or perhaps even releasing all that we no longer wish to carry. And allowing all systems to work cohesively within ourselves, knowing that all these aspects of us are not separate, but part of one another. Now let's bring our focus to the soles of our feet, opening up the energy centers on the soles of our feet and allowing the exchange of energy between us and Mother Earth. Feeling down into the root systems of the trees. Feeling completely connected. Allowing this crystalline energy of this life force energy that sustains this planet, allowing it to move through all aspects of us. Feeling completely grounded, centered, and connected. And now I'm going to invite you to visualize a golden light coming in from above and penetrating the top of your head, or opening up your crown, strengthening your connection with your higher self, your I am present, your guides, your angels, your own Akashic records and creator. And allow this golden energy to move down into the center of your mind, activating your seat of intuition, activating your psychic abilities that already exist within you. As it makes its way down your spine, opening up your avenues of self-expression so that you can express yourself in ways that you're heard, that you're understood. It's okay to be seen, to be heard. And allow this energy to move down into your heart space, activating the unconditional love that you already are, activating the aspect of radical self-acceptance, dissolving the barriers to completely accepting who we are, the divine beings that we already are. And allow this golden energy to continue to move down through our spine, connecting in to our solar plexus, activating the power that we already are, down into the sacral, activating the ability to physically manifest into reality and create the paradigms that we wish to see, that we wish to live. And down into our root at the base of our spine, releasing all fear, dissolving any conditioning we no longer wish to carry. And allow this golden energy to move throughout your nervous system, representing the tree of life that exists within us. Allow this energy to move through, connecting to our ancestors, releasing the limitations that we carry, that we no longer wish to carry. And allow this golden energy to move through every single cell within our bodies, releasing dissolving any disease, any discomfort, or any disharmony that we carry. Feeling completely grounded, completely centered, completely connected to all things beyond time and space. I invite you to call forward a future aspect of yourself, one that lives in the paradigm you wish to create. And as they move towards you, take this opportunity to ask them anything that would support you in making the shift to align yourself to this paradigm where you can be the change you wish to see in the world. And I invite you to ask them, what is one step that you can take today that will bring you closer, or that will activate this timeline for you? And let's thank this future version for showing up here today with the knowledge and wisdom that they've shared. Knowing that when we return to now, this time, this place, we have already shifted the paradigm, and that we are going to action. This one change, this shift, and align to the timeline of our highest potential. With gratitude, we thank this future version of ourselves for the support, the knowledge, and wisdom that they have shared with us today. Take a deep breath and exhale. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Write down that action. Make sure you do it today. Thank you. Thank you for inspiring that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was beautiful.
So beautiful. So powerful.
I heard, I asked the future version of me, how do I get there? And they said, you're already the seed. You just need to release yourself from these patterns that you constrain yourself with. And I was like, what do I do? And said, look at your calendar today and then empower yourself in every single thing and feel what that feels like. I was like, I think I know exactly what to do next. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Wow. Well, thank you, Aura. Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you.
Or any final words for us before we close today?
I just think, bathe in your essence. This was my message. Just bathe in your essence. As much as you can, return back to the heart, return back to yourself, away from the phone. Just stay with yourself for a while. That's all that's needed. Thank you. You're doing such a beautiful job. Thank you.
Thank you, Aura. Incredible. Brilliant. Well, we'll finish the session today. Thank you so much for coming along. And we'd love to have you back again or on your journey. It's been amazing. And please do keep in touch. And everyone, please do check out aurayouniverse.com with the U spelt in universe. I love it. So we'll look forward to seeing everyone again soon. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'll stop the recording. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.